Welcome to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm in Buffalo, and I'm right across the water from Toronto, where I'm living, so I brought out the family today. That's right, I brought the muscle out. My nephew's here in Buffalo, going to help me do this big draft today. Buffalo's a lot of fun. I'm really excited to be here. Why don't you guys tell me your names real quick?
Nathan. Jacob. Michael.
Say again?
Isaiah.
There you go. It's my nephew, so these guys are here helping me out. So what we're going to do is this draft tonight, again, this is my oldest of old school drafts. Have been doing this for 9 years. This is the first league that got me into fantasy. So all my buddies are here. I got a feeling when we roll out to Pittsburgh tomorrow to go to Jerome Bettis' Grill, I might be, I don't want to say hungover in front of the kids, but you kind of get the idea. So you guys, who's your favorite team, Jake?
The Blue Jays.
Okay, I like that. Good. What about you? Do you have a favorite team?
Blue Jays as well.
Listen, they're not related to me. These kids are too articulate. Hey, Mikey, who's your favorite player?
Uncle Richie.
Uncle Richie. Isaiah, what's your favorite team?
Blue Jays.
Okay, I guess we got baseball fans here. I guess they've been reading too much Gray Albright at Razzball.com. Okay, so guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go inside. We're going to do this draft in just a little bit, but first I got to do a show. You guys ready to do that? You going to watch me talk about the Buffalo Bills with Smokey? Yeah. All right, awesome. Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network. Here we go. Welcome to Razzball Radio on the Fantasy Sports Network. I'm your host, Nick Capozzi. I'm here with my man, Smokey, Rob Langevin, who has been hauling with me. We hauled from Boston today, buddy. You happen to be in Buffalo?
Oh, absolutely. We had some good local fare. Couldn't sit better. Weather's nice. Talking about some football. What could be better?
Absolutely. We had to have some, Buffalo here, and I'm sure we're going to have some wings later, but we had to try, well, I didn't have to try, I had to introduce you to roast beef on weck. That is the real Buffalo staple. It's fantastic, and if you don't have enough horseradish on there to make you snort, you didn't eat it properly. Okay, we're in Buffalo. This is actually a really cool draft today because this is going back to my old school draft. The first league I ever played in, it's a keeper league. We're doing that tonight in Buffalo. All my boys from Toronto have come down. But right now we're going to talk about Buffalo Bills. Let's start at the quarterback position. E.J. Manuel, interesting guy. I like him. I think there's upside there. I'm worried they're going to turn him into captain check down. I don't know what the issue is. Is there any fantasy relevance for E.J. Manuel this year?
Right now he's the 26th quarterback off the board. That's probably about right where he should be. He's probably undraftable in standard leagues. I mean, last year he was pretty much marred by injuries. He showed brilliance in 3 or 4 games, then got hurt for 5 or 6. But at the end of it, he had 7 games over 14 points scored as a quarterback. He needs time to gel with the weapons he has. I mean, they just brought in a brand new wide receiver in Sammy Watkins. Robert Woods is a good receiver, but he's not, overpowering by any means. And then his running back situation is kind of like
why are you getting into the positions already? We're just talking about Manuel, man. Come on, focus.
Well, this is all based on how Manuel is going to do as a quarterback because he's one of those people that he needs the people around him to be better. He's not the center of the earth. He's the whole earth around the center.
Okay, I didn't really follow you there, but yeah, okay, the skill position players are obviously going to be key here, and they're improving. At least you can make an argument that way. Let's talk about the running backs. C.J. Spiller, in theory, should be the incumbent, but Fred Jackson, they added a year to his contract. He's still around. They traded a 4th-round pick for Bryce Brown, which means he might be the future, and don't sleep on Bryce Brown because he has a lot of upside if he can just hold on to the ball. How do you see the running back situation shaking down in Buffalo?
Well, it's C.J. Spiller's show. It's just unfortunate that we're like waiting for him to be, it's going to be this year. It's going to be this year for C.J. Spiller. Nope, it's going to be this year. And I think that's why they re-signed Fred Jackson because I think Fred Jackson is a good mentor for him, and I think he gets into his head mentally and tells him to stay grounded. But
just chill, kid. Just chill.
Absolutely. But Bryce Brown, the one thing I like about the Bills is they scream like they're a great, great dynasty team. If you're looking for a dynasty format, and if you have the team format where you take the Bills are a great formatted team to pick. They have Manuel, who's young. They have C.J. Spiller, who's probably gone, but Bryce Brown is going to step in next year into a great situation. The Bills have a great offensive line to block for him, and then they have the other wide receivers who are also young.
Okay, so at the end of the day, where does C.J. Spiller, in your mind, sit at the end of the season in terms of running back rankings?
He's probably somewhere between 15 and 20 for me.
Okay. So would you rather have Alfred Morris or C.J. Spiller?
Alfred Morris.
Which one of the two has more upside?
Spiller does, but I just don't think he's going to be able to grasp it. I think I don't know, he's like that star athlete who just can't tie his shoes.
Speaking of not being able to tie your shoes, okay, that was a terrible segue. I got nowhere to go off that. Wide receivers. Well, here's a guy who not only can tie his shoes, but can catch crazy one-arm touchdowns in the end zone. Sammy Watkins is going to lead the Bills receiving corps. Well, maybe not lead because he is a rookie, but obviously he's looked pretty darn impressive in camp thus far. What is the situation? We got Sammy Watkins here. We've got Robert Woods. Stevie Johnson is no longer here. Break it down for me, brother.
Well, Watkins, they drafted Watkins really high because they wanted that weapon right out of the gate, and he's showing what he is in the preseason. He's basically a burner. He's going to flash and dash, and Manuel's a good down the field thrower. He can chuck it a mile. He's a former baseball player. He's going to get it to him. So that's Manuel's like bread and butter. He's going to be a huge catch, like yardage per catch guy. He might not catch that many, but he's going to be like maybe like an 18 to 19 yards per catch guy.
Well, I also saw, though, in the limited preseason action, obviously they're keeping the packages quite vanilla, that he's actually been, they've been putting him in bubble screens, just any way to get the ball into his hands, which might actually bring down that yard per catch. You with me on that?
I agree. But, I mean...
Ooh, I swayed ya.
But in the situations where they're going to need him to develop, he's going to be the down-the-field stretcher. I think Woods from last year, Woods was a down-the-field receiver because they didn't have anybody else there to augment the wide receiver core there. He was actually 26th in the NFL in yards per catch, Robert Woods, even with Jeff Toole and E.J. Manuel and the host of others that were QBing for the Bills. So I think Woods' role is going to shift a little bit to kind of like what T.Y. Hilton is with the Colts. He's kind of be like that over-the-middle, give you what I give you, kind of a wide receiver.
Kind of. I like Woods. Woods has upside, especially in deeper leagues, keeper leagues.
Definitely does. I like the appeal where you can get him. If you're in a 14-team league, he's perfect for your wide receiver 4 because you're gambling but not really gambling because of the value where you're going to get him. It really, makes sense.
Any other wide receivers in this offense we should take note of?
They brought in Mike Williams, and I just don't see him gelling at all. I think the Bills are a very young core team, and I think Mike Williams is a veteran. I think he's probably going to, not be satisfied with his role and probably wind his way into the bench or off the team.
What about tight end? Kind of limited here, eh?
Yeah, Scott Chandler is the starter. He's actually, if you look at his stats, he's not awful. But basically, how you made the reference to the dink and dunk game. Scott Chandler is the beneficiary of the dink and dunk in Buffalo. I think that he could probably get you 50 catches.
You got to get it right. It's Buffalo.
It's Buffalo. He's probably going to get you 50 catches, probably about 700 yards. But he's not going to do much like for your overall fantasy value. And since you only really need one tight end per team, he's probably not a fantasy option.
Okay, the defense here actually might be interesting. That actually might be, you know what, I'm going to throw this out here. My sugar daddy today, brought to you by ArrangementFinders.com. The player that I think is going to grossly outperform their ADP for the Buffalo Bills is actually the defense. I think the defense is very good, underrated, very solid unit. And the Bills, I think, are going to be fun to watch this year because as this young offensive side of the ball talent starts to gel, that was a mouthful, you're also going to see this defense coming together. And you know what? Some people are saying the Bills are going to be the worst team in football. I think they might actually compete for the playoffs.
I agree. I think they're going to push either the Ravens or the Bengals for that last spot in the AFC.
Really? You're really with me on that? I'm not crazy.
No, absolutely. I think they have a chance at 8-8. Their record is kind of soft in the middle. They start out. I believe they start out with 3 or 4 hard games in a row, and then their teams that they play in the middle are just soft. I think they could squeeze out 8-8. I mean, they play the Jets twice. Come on.
I guess you don't see the timer going right there because you went way over time. That's okay, Smokey. Still love you. At Smokey_Loogie. I am at Nick Capozzi. This is Razzball Radio Fantasy Sports Network. We'll be back with more from Buffalo.
I was never one for traditional dating, which is why I like to meet guys on ArrangementFinders.com. Arrangement Finders puts a twist on dating that works so well, they guarantee you'll find a girl. That's right, guarantee. Sounds too good to be true? Check out these girls on ArrangementFinders.com who are looking to date. She's hot. She's hot. Okay, her, not so much. Anyway, it's free to join. Go to Arrangement Finders and meet girls like me who know what you really want.
Welcome back to Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network. Nick and Rob here with you outside of the Century Grill. This is where we're having my old school draft tonight. I'm jacked up for this. So this is 3 keepers plus a rookie. There's no penalties for draft picks or salary. It's just you get 3 guys plus a rookie. What do you think of that format? I mean, I know it's kind of, I don't want to say it's kind of cheap a little bit, but, these are my old school buddies. What am I going to do?
Yeah, with old school friends, you can pretty much make up your own rules and do whatever you want, and, it's all for fun.
Speaking of fun, let's talk a little fantasy news. Stand a little bit over here, man. There we go. That's better. There we go.
I'll turn around.
Now, would you move back? All right, here we go. Monty Ball played his first game, or is about to play his first game since the appendectomy. That's actually good news because the original talk was that he was only going to come back week 1. Are you comfortable with him right now?
I think that what's caused everybody to back off of him as a first round pick and maybe have him fall into the mid second round. I think now that he's going to play and people are actually going to show that he's actually healthy and be part of that offense, I think he's going to move back to the tail end of that first round where you get, where the wide receivers are gone, all the top running backs are gone. You have decisions to make. Is it him or is it Monty Ball? And you take Monty Ball.
Yeah, because one of the trends we noticed this week is that over the about the last 2 weeks, or whenever the appendectomy happened, he was going about the 8th, 9th pick overall, and then he was going about the 18th, 19th pick overall. So it did have some effect. Interesting, though. Who do you think is the handcuff there, C.J. Anderson or Ronnie Hillman?
I'd probably bet on Hillman. Hillman's better, I think, at the picking up the blitz packages, and he's also probably a better third down back. So I think Hillman would probably get the chance there. He just got to hold on to the ball. That's the best. That's his only problem.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, this is if you play IDP or if you play with special teams on your defense, Earl Thomas, the Seattle safety, is getting some punt returns in there. That's a little bit interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I play in a couple leagues where I play with IDP players, and when they actually field punts and return punts, you get points for that. Also, you get yardage. So, the way Thomas plays, he's a ball hawk. He gets a lot of tackles, and he's going to return yards. Let's yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, just a little interesting side note there. Makes actually, it'd be good if it's not Percy Harvin returning the kicks there, because I'd rather see him, saving his energy for the field. He actually had a pretty good game the other night. What did he have? 3 catches?
Yeah, he had 3 catches for 61 yards. He returned a few kickoffs. He looked very nimble. He looks great on the field. He looks looks like a Ferrari with brand new tires.
Ferrari with brand new tires. I like that. Listen, if he can stay healthy, he's not just a top wide receiver. He's one of the top players in football. And I keep saying, I think this year they're going to convert from the traditional kind of pounded out, grinded out offense they've been and try and mix it up a little bit more. Curse also an interesting, we talked about Robert Woods of the Buffalo Bills earlier. Curse is an interesting guy who could potentially be, 4th receiver for you. It's not crazy. He's looked really good in camp.
If Seattle's going to open up the offense, somebody's got to catch the ball besides Harvin. He went for 4 for 61 and a touchdown. And he's got the size that no other Seattle Seahawk wide receiver has. He's 6'1". All the other
saying Percy Harvin's not big?
Well, he's only 5'10", like 185.
You're bigger than Percy Harvin.
No, I'm not. I am a little guy. I'm svelte. SM all.
All right, also in that Seattle game, Robert Turbin was getting the reps with the second team when Marshawn Lynch wasn't in the game. But Kristen Michael got the goal line opportunity. I thought it may have been the other way around. Obviously, Turbin is the veteran. A little bit more stability there than Michael. But Michael has so much upside. He's just dripping with talent. He's a guy that I'm drafting in every league just based on, A, in case something happens to Lynch, but B, just because he's so talented when he does get the opportunity, he could be a game changer. And for a guy you're getting, I'll put it this way. Let me ask you this. Would you rather have Josh Gordon this year, pending the suspension, or Kristen Michael?
I'd probably still take Gordon, only because I like those scenarios that are going to play out with his suspension. I think if Gordon, gets suspended the minimum, which is probably going to be 8 games, if he fails that and he gets suspended for the whole year, he's got an appeal process that's probably going to last into the season. So if he plays for 4 games and you draft him in, say, the 11th, 12th round, you're getting 4 games with probably, if he was playing the whole season, probably a top 2 wide receiver in the league. I mean, I love where Gordon's going. I'm basically snatching him up in any league I can, if any time after the 9th round.
He's too much of a powder keg for me. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the Buccaneers. They're saying they're going to open up the offense. I don't know if I'm buying that. Obviously, there's some real good skill guys there with Mike Evans joining Vincent Jackson. They got some interesting tight ends. The line's pretty good. A lot of running backs there, even with the Sims injury. But you know what? I'm not buying because Lovie Smith is not the kind of guy who's going to throttle up the offense. He's the kind of guy who's going to pound it out and help that defense out to try and win games. I mean, am I wrong? Do you think that there's a chance they might blow it up and open the offense up?
Well, I disagree with one of your points. Their offensive line is terrible. But
it's not that bad.
It was like 3rd from the bottom in the league last year. But it was bad. But anyway, I think opening up the offense is going to help them get the guys that they want with the ball faster. They want Doug Martin to have the ball a ton. They want to get their wideouts the ball in the flats or over the top. And I think by opening up the game with short plays, they'll open up the plays with the long plays. So, I think it's beneficial to them. They brought in a new offensive coordinator who is a quarterback guy, and I believe that Lovey's probably going to trust him for a good part of the season to open up the playbook. With the playmakers that they have, it's definitely a possibility. Vincent Jackson over the top. Evans is just a beast. He's basically Vincent Jackson with 8 years less age on him. Doug Martin's a great pass catcher, and they don't really have a tight end, but I don't think they really need one because I think they're going to need to keep him in to help the offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now the Patriots game, we were in Boston. We were watching the Pats game. Julian Edelman had 8 catches on 8 targets, but he was the only wide receiver in there. I'm not buying him this year. I'm seeing him go in the 4th, 5th round. Way too early for me. I just don't like him. I know there's not a lot of options there, but if Gronkowski comes back, Edelman's the guy who's really going to suffer, I think. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I agree. If Gronk is there, I believe the only other option in that whole offense, unless somebody shows something in the next game for the preseason, I just don't see Edelman being worth the value of a 6th round pick right now. I would probably pass and probably go somewhere in the neighborhood of like a Crabtree or somebody like that. I just don't trust that Edelman's going to have enough value if Gronk comes in and plays the games that he and does what he's capable of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, he's just a slightly healthier Edelman. Okay, guys, what we're going to do is we are going to talk a little bit more news after this. But first, I want to remind you, sportsvault.net, why deal with the managing of league fees? It's such a pain in the neck. It's hard enough to get your 12 guys together anyway. Let someone else do the dirty work for you. Sportsvault.net, it is no fee. That is right, absolutely free. They will collect your league fees. They will redistribute it as per your instructions. Also, one thing you and I are going to be doing all season is playing a lot of daily fantasy. Of course, you do that over at DraftKings. Enter promo code Razzball when signing up. They'll give you a first-time deposit match and an entry into the weekly Sunday contest that we are actually going to have. They'll give you one entry in on that. So, that's what's happening. We're in Buffalo. Nick and Rob with you at Nick Capozzi, NickCapozzi. He is Smokey_Loogie. Because he's our loogie out of the pen. And actually came out of the pen to help me out on this trip. Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network, back right after this.
I was never one for traditional dating, which is why I like to meet guys on ArrangementFinders.com. Arrangement Finders puts a twist on dating that works so well, they guarantee you'll find a girl. That's right, guarantee. Sounds too good to be true? Check out these girls on ArrangementFinders.com who are looking to date. She's hot. She's hot. Okay, her, not so much. Anyway, it's free to join. Go to Arrangement Finders and meet girls like me who know what you really want.
Welcome back, Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network in Buffalo. Rob, you and I were talking about the news. A few more tidbits to go over. MJD had 45 yards and a touchdown in the Raiders game. Who's going to actually get the reps there?
For fantasy purposes, if you're desperate enough to draft MJD or McFadden, your league will probably thank you for your donation.
Fair enough. But someone is going to carry the ball there. Who's it going to be?
I think it's going to be MJD to start, and then they'll mix in McFadden because neither of them are both very healthy or very young. So I think it'll probably be an even mix. If each guy gets maybe like between 12 and 14 carries a game, that'd probably be a nice mix for the Raiders.
Any chance that Latavius Murray actually comes in? A lot of hype around him. Not a lot of hype, actually, but a lot of potential upside with Murray?
Well, I'd say he'd come in when the Raiders are out of it, but then, he'd play in week 1.
Okay, all right. I've been stumping for Cam Newton all year, but, man, it was not good the other day. The line looked leaky. He got sacked 3 times. Man, I'm starting to get a little bit nervous. I really am with Cam Newton. What did you see?
When Cam came into the season, everybody was questioning, he's got no wide receivers. Now in this preseason game, his offensive line just looked leaky. He got sacked 3 times in 5 series. Actually came out after 1 sack, came back in. He looked okay. He went 8 for 12 for 88 yards, had 12 rushing yards. But I'd worry if he doesn't have an offensive line and no wide receivers. I know he's Superman and all, but he can't do everything.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay, Ruben Randall, though, could be an interesting player in New York. He's a guy that I haven't necessarily been getting because there's a lot of wide receivers I like. But you know what? People are sleeping on him. He's probably going to be the top outside threat on that team because if he's not, it's going to be really difficult for Victor Cruz. So he actually got praised by Tom Coughlin. What happened there?
Coughlin is a guy. He's a hard.
Because he's not a praiser.
No, he admires hard work. If you're a hard worker, Tom Coughlin's going to show you that he appreciates you. Randall is going to exceed his ADP right now. People are way sleeping on him. I think he should be probably going in like the 8th or 9th round. He's going like the 10th or 11th round. He's probably by the start of the season and the first game of the week season. He's probably going to have a great first week. people are going to jump on him, and then he's probably going to like quell for two weeks and then explode because Eli's going to find his comfort zone with him. Cruz is probably going to get double covered. Odell Beckham is not really showing what he has yet. I think Brando, with the value that he's putting up, is the Giants receiver you want.
Okay, fair enough. Last guy we're going to talk about today is Ladarius Green of San Diego. Very hyped this preseason. People are thinking, I guess, Antonio Gates is done. I still think it's Antonio Gates' job to lose, but obviously Green, when he showed flashes last year, they were quite brilliant. What's your assessment this year?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to kick Gates to the curb. They're going to show some veteran preference there. The thing I worry about with that is, Green showed promise last year, and they tried to feed Gates as much as they possibly could when he got open because he looks kind of broken down when he's trying to run a pattern. But the good thing about the Chargers is they've basically returned like 3 healthy wide receivers plus Keenan Allen. Malcolm Floyd is coming back from the neck injury. Brown is coming back from a knee injury. I just don't know where all the targets are going to go for Ladarius Green. So that's where the question mark comes up for me. Yeah, he's got the upside. He's the ex-basketball player who reminds everybody of Antonio Gates, 10 years ago. But where are the targets going to come? Keenan Allen's going to get fed healthy. Gates, if he's in the game, is going to be healthy. The Chargers don't run too many tight end sets because they play with two backs in the backfield because both guys, they run him into the flat. You have Danny Woodhead and you have Ryan Matthews. I mean, there's going to be that's a lot of targets to try to guarantee a backup tight end.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to wrap up with the news right now. Now, again, this is kind of my old school local draft that we're doing tonight. I got my buddies down here. I got my family down here from Toronto. So, in fact, I thought we had a little bit more time. So, you know what I'm going to do right here? I'm actually going to switch this up. Get out of here. Come here, Rich, my brother-in-law. This is Richard Rowan, my brother-in-law. Rich, what's up? Welcome to Razzball Radio, my man, on the Fantasy Sports Network. So I got the first pick in the draft. 3 keepers were kept. I'm thinking DeMarco Murray might be the best talent available. Murray or Cobb? Which way would you lean there?
Well, first, I can't believe that Nashville dropped Murray. Were you doing bath salts together? It blows my mind. I would have given at least a 13th round pick for that. Where's the love? Oh, that's right. You don't like any of us. So I would
think people have totally lost what you're doing. In fact, maybe you were the guy in Miami who was doing bath salts that tried to accost us out on South Beach. But listen, we've been doing this league for a long time. What is the deal with James Dill, the commissioner? This is the 9th year of the league. There is no constitution, Rich. I mean, that's unacceptable.
I say we vote him off the island.
Yeah, he's already been voted off down. He's somewhere in South America. You know what we should actually do, I think? I think what we should do is I think what we're going to do is, you know what? I'm going to tweet out his Twitter handle, and I need everybody in Razzball Nation to give James a really tough time. What do you think? Is that a good idea?
Oh, yeah, buddy. Hashtag, what should we do?
32 and 32 and 32. That's what the hashtag should be, brother. Or how do you not have a constitution?
Get a constitution.
Hashtag get a constitution. I like that. Okay, listen, Rich, what we're going to do is we're going to go inside. We're going to get the guys together. We're going to do this draft. We are in Buffalo. Probably going to tip a few beers. I saw some Molsons on the shelf up in there. You ready to go do this draft or what, bro?
It's going to be epic.
All right. We'll be right back. Razzball Radio, Fantasy Sports Network.